shining in the light of your glory. To see you high and lifted up, shining in the light of your glory. All right, good, we're good. Pour out your power and love. See, I'm singing for everybody. You're having concerts without paying for it. Owomida. We sing holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. One second, I'm just trying to, restart. I mean, YouTube is good now. Just want to change the name. It will be part 3B. All right. Someone says our description of Zeke on propaganda was perfect. You're right. I've said it several times, and it's sad. I wish you could read some of these things. When Bible says that a good man leaves inheritance for his children's children. If the only inheritance you receive is propaganda, you are done for. You just be hating people for no reason. And I can assure you, with all due respect, and we love towards everybody and hate towards none, the only thing you guys call it's not propaganda. For us right now, what is the philosophy that actually guided that particular movement that they had in the 40s, 50s, and 60s? Nobody knows. Propaganda, any? Atiro. All right. For those on YouTube, I apologize. For all of us, actually, I apologize. We'll not be able to listen to all that, but we'll put it out much later. But I'm glad we're here now. So let's go to other things. I was going to play you something from the President of America, and this happened when Syria was essentially invaded. I hope we don't have this kind of thing in Nigeria, but take a listen, please.
You know what I did? I left troops to take the oil. I took the oil. The only troops I have are taking the oil. They're protecting the oil. I took over.
We're taking the oil. We're not taking the oil.
Well, maybe we will. Maybe we won't.
They're protecting the facility.
I don't know. Maybe we should take it. But we have the oil. Right now, the United States has the oil. So they say he left troops in Syria. No. I got rid of all of them other than we're protecting the oil. We have the oil.
One more time.
I left troops to take the oil. I took the oil. The only troops I have are taking the oil. They're protecting the oil. I took over.
We're taking the oil. We're not taking the oil.
Well, maybe we will. Maybe we won't.
They're protecting the facility.
I don't know. Maybe we should take it. But we have the oil. Right now, the United States has the oil. So they say he left troops in Syria. No. I got rid of all of them other than we're protecting the oil. We have the oil.
Yeah, so they were protecting the oil. KG says, my question is, if the First Republic was not a question, please type properly. Help me to answer the question. I would love to answer your question, but please help me. You didn't structure. I don't even know what you're talking about. Please, thank you very much. God bless you. I have an idea, but I don't like assuming stuff. So please just make it easy, and then we'll respond. Someone says, why protecting the oil? Nobody does anything because they like you, especially when it comes to international relations. It's all about interest. Someone had written something on social media. Her name is Shilong, and I think what she wrote, some of the things I agree with. She was talking about solutions that Nigerians need ASAP. State police, the good thing about that is that the president already mentioned it, and I think is one of the things that he's trying to push for. We need state police. Number 2, she says, publish the names of terror sponsors in Nigeria. Number 3, prosecute them. Number 4, stop reintegration programs for terrorists. Number 5, use intelligence to flush out reintegrated terrorists in military and police agencies. Number 6, implement Confab 2014. Let me tell you something. Personally, there are only 2 things I like everything she said, but there are 2 things that if you do, that number 4, the reintegration of terrorists is a joke. It's a joke. And I think people know it. Thank you for the gift, Aderoyal. I really appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Be like Aderoyal, everyone. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Give gifts. God bless you. I think the reintegration of terror is actually a joke. But earlier today, I was having a conversation with my brother. We're talking about this whole thing about, the terrorists and everything. I was like, I can't say everything we discussed, but the part I like, let me say it this way. Certain leaders in some parts of the country started talking about the fact that it would be nice to treat folks who were destroying stuff, they were not called terrorists at the time, the way the Niger Delta militants were treated in terms of reintegration into society and amnesty. And they pushed that for a while. The chickies have come home to roost now. There is an endemic problem. There's a major issue. But like I said, having learned from what happened in the First Republic, it's not my business. But it's the government's business. When I say it's not my business, it's not because I don't care. It's because there's little you can do about it because you are not from there. It's a cultural thing. It has nothing to do with pontificating and speaking English. It's folks from there that can actually fix it. And it's simple. There's a factory that manufactures the folks that work or that engage in this banditry and everything. That factory is what needs to be worked on. But the only people that can do that are the leaders in that place. Religious, spiritual, traditional, they are the only ones that can fix it. There is a pipeline, a conduit for kids that can easily become terrorists and this and that. They need to fix that. But a very good way to do that is the last thing she mentioned, implement Confab 2014. One of these days, I don't know when I'll do it again. I've done it before. I had a conversation on the Confab of 2014. That report, whenever I hear people say things like, let us go and let's have a Confab, I think it's a waste of time. We have a report that has not been implemented. How come we have not done it? And if you're in politics and you're listening, please read that document. Please. I think all the answers, not all, but most of the answers that we need are actually there already. We just need to tweak those things. And I've said the reason I love that document, I believe it contains a lot of our answers. I've mentioned it a number of times, but in case you were not here, I'll repeat. The president reverted told us that we're going to have to revert to the old national anthem. I'll talk about the document. I'll tell you, KG News. And I watched an interview with Barrister Michael Zekome, and he said that they recommended they recommended that Nigeria reverted to the old national anthem during the Confab of 2014. I was like, really? Thank you, Kemcake, on TikTok. I was like, you recommended this thing and the president just did it, just changed the national anthem. And everybody is saying, no, the song does not sound nice. We don't want it. It's actually the best anthem for Nigeria, by the way. You see, this anthem the one we used to have, by the way, that came after the Civil War, is a motivational speech. Arise, O compatriots, one nation bound in freedom, peace and unity. Not lie. Not lie. The real truth is, though tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. We know we are different. Let's not say one nation bound in freedom. We are not bound. Nothing. It's just a lie. It's good. It sounds nice. It's motivational. It's good for the kids. As you grow up, it's good that, nah, this is not real. Arise, O compatriots, Nigeria's called away to serve our fatherland with love and strength of faith. The labor of our heroes, but never be in vain. The heroes I don't even know. The point is, when he talked about changing that anthem, I now said, you guys talked about this at that meeting. We're going to check this thing. So I started reading the document, the Confab report. It wasn't long after I started reading it. The government just came up with another plan. Development commissions is literally in that document. What Tinubu did with SWDC, SCDC, NWDC, NCDC, NEDC, and SSDC. Development commissions across all regions. That is in that document. And there are more things in that document. Someone says the Confab 2014 gave indigenous status settlers. Number one, it's not that, it wasn't like that. It wasn't like that. Number two, I don't think it's a perfect document. You won't find any perfect thing anywhere. The one you don't agree on, you talk about it. But the point is, to now start the process all over again and start saying, what do we want to discuss, is a waste of time. You have something, take that one and discuss it. In other words, I'm not saying everything they agreed upon in 2014, just implement. No, but I'm saying discuss it, like work on it, tweak here and there. That's how we make progress. I don't know, it's a curse. Every generation having to start afresh is a curse. Wherever the older generation stops, that's where the new one should start building. Not that we now go back and say, okay, we want to prove that we have sense. Let us start again. Then you now do it. Children will now grow up. They will now start again. Now be saying, look at America. China went to China. Taiwan. What's the other country that one used to mention? Indonesia. All those things, just nonsense. People build on stuff. Anyway, I'm talking a lot. So we should study that 2014 Confab report. And good news, that report is on the Telegram channel. It's in the Telegram channel, Redomi Global. So check that channel out. You find that document. It's bulky, but I think it's good. There's something that I like in it. I don't like everything there, but there are some very, very good provisions. And like I said, I just mentioned two that the president has implemented, or not just himself, by the way, himself and the legislature. Two things. Number one was the national anthem, and then the development commissions. And the third one I think will happen soon is policing, the state policing. They might have the state police. Let's see how that goes. What time is it? It's 6:23. Really?
1 second, please. This thing might go off.
1 second, please. This thing might go off. Kobale Dalon. This guy is good.
All right.
They even schedule. It's brilliant. All right. Couple more things I want to talk about, but there's no time. There's a professor in the north who is threatening the president of the United States. I don't think people understand that this is even unnecessary. But me no be like saying I only me the hear. I'm now one short video. Just take a listen, please. Take them quick. Then we'll go where we want to go. There's a video that has been on social media for a bit. We'll address that later. Someone's neck has met on the issue of state policing several times. Was inclusion of referendum to the constitution included in 2014 Confab document? Not to the best of my knowledge. I don't think so. One of the things we should know is this: when they get to any meeting that has to do with conversations on these things, these ones who are always agitating and disturbing our eardrums, they never mention this thing. Which tells you something. They don't want to leave. They don't want to leave.
All the folks who are representing them, when they get to that place to have conversations, they never...
All the folks who are representing them, when they get to that place to have conversations, they never mention secession, they never mention referendum, they don't. Well, at least in recent times. They're not really ready to leave. But I hope they push it, and then... But I don't even think the South is has to push. Maybe anybody should just push it. Let's just have this thing and everybody go and rest. But once you vote, if you vote to leave, just go like that. If you vote to stay, no more complaints of can you convict mode. That's the only issue. But in reality, the way I see it, I think it's just a gimmick. They just say it in order to get something. We're going to leave. Are you not going to call me back? I'll leave. Oh, are you not going to call me back? Oh, God, go. Anyway, this is Professor Sadiq Abba. It's actually quite interesting, but I don't think it's what Nigeria needs right now. But take a listen to this.
This is not the first time they are giving us direct ads. The only thing is that the first two direct threats, they met leaders on ground. They met General Murtala Muhammad. Remember Gerald Ford's letter to General Murtala Muhammad that he published? Yes. Gerald Ford, go to hell, America shut up. It's a direct threat to Murtala Muhammad and Nigeria. Murtala called their bluffs. Abacha called their bluffs. And so how prepared are we? If the government is not prepared, Mr. Ilyasu, I can assure you that Nigerian citizens are prepared for America.
How? Just tell me, apart from rhetoric. This is national secrets. It's confidential. America will not tell you they are coming with this. It's their secret also. I can assure you, if America is coming, tell them. As far as Nigerians are concerned, not Nigerian government, not Nigerian state, not Nigerian president, not Senate, not ministers, not governors. Nigerian citizens, not me and you that are sitting in this studio talking. Nigerian citizens on the street, in the crannies and the in the villages. For every to be buried alive, Nigerians are ready and willing. We are well prepared.
Wait. This comment section is a mess. Someone says you and who? We are prepared in the corner. Prepared in it. I don't know what joke was say. Let's settle this thing. Let's just settle it. No, because I'm hearing now that folks who are serving NYSC, they will go and call Ramolomo. Let's just settle it. Let's settle it. Like those people used to say, let's settle it. All right, but moving away from, I thought that was funny, to be honest. That's the only thing I can get out of it. I can take out of it. It's just funny. I hope that the man doesn't mean what he's saying. Which is well. Said it's not about us, people in the nooks and crannies. Well, maybe he asked people that I don't know of, or that happens. Anyway, Russian National TV had a conversation with the Nigeria president's spokesperson, David Boala. Please take a listen to this.
Daniel Boala, special advisor to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on policy communication. Daniel, a very warm welcome to you. Thank you so much for joining us here on RT today. It's great to have you on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, sir. I'm just going to cut to the chase with you very quickly here. When it comes to suddenly finding yourself on the crosshairs of the Trump administration, you may be Ukraine, you may be Venezuela, you may be Gaza, you may be Syria. Oh, guess what? Now you may be Nigeria. The U.S. president threatening to deploy American troops to your country. What is your nation's response, please, Daniel?
We try our best to downplay the rhetoric because we know for sure that can be the reflection of the realities on ground. The decision of President Trump is anchored on the various tweets and pushes by congressmen. And the congressmen rely on a data and report that were submitted by a separatist group in Nigeria called the IPOB. That there's a genocide of Christians in Nigeria, which is false because all intelligence and non-governmental organizations that carry out their research and data about killings in Nigeria, none but these two that have affiliation with IPOB that indicated that there is a Christian genocide. In fact, even the content of the data contradict that. For example, the Inter-Society Civil Liberties and Human Rights that produced that report tried to allege that the killings of IPOB separatist group in the southeastern Nigeria were conducted by the Nigerian forces and that the killing of even the citizens of the southeast were conducted by the Nigerian forces under the pretext that because the people in the southeast have Jewish history and tradition. and it is very unfortunate. The second report, which is by Observatory for Religious Freedom in Africa, in their own report, they admitted that there have been more killings of people who have not identified as Christians or Muslims. They are followed by the killings of Christians, and thirdly, by the killings of the Muslims. But they concluded that these killings were conducted by Fulani militia, meaning that they kill Christians, they kill Muslims, and they kill non-Christians and non-Muslims.
Yeah.
How can you write a report like that and also conclude that there is a genocide of one of them?
Yeah, I mean, I was just reading your interview with the BBC recently, and they were saying that there are various groups that are monitoring the violence. They say there's no evidence to suggest the Christians are being killed more than the Muslims in Nigeria, as you are saying, it's roughly evenly divided, I guess, between followers of both religions. In fact, you know what, going back to this interview with the BBC, by the way, you were in this interview, they said that claims of a genocide against Nigeria's Christians have been circulating in recent weeks and months in some right-wing American circles. How would you break down those last words I just said?
I quite agree, and let me tell you further. In fact, there is this investigative report that was conducted 2 weeks ago in Nigeria that suggested that that hoax, that narrative, was amplified by the separatist group called the IPOB since 2016, that there is a Christian genocide and that the genocide is against them because they have a Jewish tradition. But the amplification now affected the people of the right wing of the Republican Party in the United States, which was pushed by Senator Ted Cruz and followed by Riley Moore. These are senators who have lost the favor and favor with the MAGA base because they were considered and are still considered as people that have pandered so much to the APAC and the APAC-back agenda. So they are trying to reinvent themselves. That is why they now found a good distraction in Nigeria. That's what the reports and is saying. But we as a country, we try to be responsible enough to focus on the solution and not the problem. And our point is this: there have been killings in Nigeria because of the exceptional situation that we find ourselves. Our government has made massive progress in the fight against insecurity, and we're calling on Donald Trump to assist us with military apparatus that is requisite for us to fight insecurity. We do not need the boots of the American soldiers in our soil. There has to be a respect of our territorial integrity.
Yeah, strong comment there, Daniel. I appreciate that. As you are live now on Network.
All right, so conversation went on for a bit longer, but that was Daniel Bwala speaking, representing the nation in that interview. I mean, some of the things we talked about earlier, he also confirmed them, and apparently these are things that we should be wary of. We should be careful of the narratives that, we have everywhere on social media. All right. Two more things, and then we'll have to move on. Let's do this one tomorrow or Friday. Or there's one more that we can do now. It's a video of a man who, what people have sent me this video since last week asking me to speak on it. Yes, I was going to talk about it today. Give me a second, please. All right, let's get into this. I don't even know what to say. Let's just listen to it. Once we're done listening to it, I'll now respond. It's an older person who just for some reason hasn't shown that wisdom comes with age. And it's a shame. Please take a listen.
Group of young majors. It was a group of young majors. Among them were Yoruba, Igbo, Hausa, and other ethnic nationalities. But the two prominent groups were Igbo and Yoruba. Of course, it's also understandable because the Igbo and Yoruba dominated the officer corps in the military. Because of why their early acceptance have told.
Straight into it. Okay, so start again. I'm not sure I can stomach everything because it's mostly rubbish, but we'll respond to it once it's done. Take a listen, please.
It was a group of young majors. Among them were Yoruba, Igbo, Hausa, and other ethnic nationalities. But the two prominent groups were Igbo and Yoruba. Of course, it's also understandable because the Igbo and Yoruba dominated the officer corps in the military.
Because of what?
Their early acceptance, I've told you that the North was more reluctant to accept Western education. They preferred Islamic education. And since the world was seen in the eye of the West as the ruler, they had a better placement in the bureaucracy.
Yes. So, and in the military, it was more about qualification that time,
yes,
not about.
Yes. It was British at the time. They were as much as possible being objective in looking for the military brass. But in the other ranks, the North had more. Yes, the other ranks, the officer cadre had more of those more educated. But the other ranks, the North was more because the level to be admitted was lower. They had more people who were willing to join
than people from
the South, because the South also, they had their
businesses
continue to do education, businesses and entrepreneurship, and they were in the bureaucracy and commanding heights of the economy and the bureaucracy. So the more educationally oriented, but because of the way the North was structured, it was easier for people to enter the army and the military forces. So there was a higher percentage of northern soldiers, the other ranks, as against the higher percentage of the officer rank from the South. All right. So as I said, the predominant planners were Western and Eastern soldiers. Read the story of Ademoyega and all the people who were in the coup. They'll tell you it was a pan-Nigeria coup. However, when it was executed, because they had planned to take over government, kill or remove the premiers, Adubelo, Okpara, and Kintola, who was premier of the West then. And I think they even planned to kill Zik. But Zik was a wizard, a witch. He left the country before nobody knows what happened, but he left the country, handed over the country to the president of the Senate, who was Orizu, Senator Orizu. So he left the country when the coup happened. So he wasn't there, so they couldn't have gotten him. However, the truth must be told, certain people didn't play the roles they were asked to play effectively, and other circumstances that interrupted the coup. So Ahmadu Bello was killed, who was the premier of the North. Tafawa Balewa was killed, who was the prime minister, the all Northerners. In the Southwest, Akintola, who was premier, was killed. Of course, Awolowo was already in prison now because he had been in prison for planning to overthrow Tafawa Balewa's government. The justification is not what I'm about to discuss. You come to the Southwest, even Midwest, Oketiebo, who was the Minister of Finance, was killed. Some Northern Army generals, officers like Mai Malari and a few others were killed. But the East, the governor or the prime minister, the premier, then was not killed. The governor Abia was not killed when the coup was carried in 1966. Even though the truth must be told, it was the same Igbo who countered the coup, who made the coup to fail.
Which was Ironsi.
Not even Ironsi, including Odimegwu Ojukwu, who was commanding the battalion in Kano. He resisted Nzongo. Nzongo was coordinating activities in the north from Kaduna. That was where he was successfully able to kill Ahmadu Bello, and because Ahmadu Bello lived in the north, lived in Kaduna. So when he wanted to connect to Kano, Ojukwu resisted. Ojukwu was commanding the battalion in Kano. So they truncated Nzongo's activity in the north. In the south area, some of the people, especially one man called Major Ifajuna, didn't get his act together. So he missed some of his targets. In the southeast, there was a problem. The American ambassador was visiting the southeast at this time.
Okay.
And therefore, he was staying with the premier of the southeast in Enugu. So the soldiers couldn't have the infantry to storm the government house to take out Okpara, because it would have been seen as an attack on the American ambassador who was hosting. He could have been wounded, or any of his American could have been wounded. And nobody were willing to take that risk. At least they were not willing, because that could lead to
a global affair.
A global affair, America invading Nigeria. So in all that imponderable, the coup failed.
Okay.
And the leader of the officer then, who was in Lagos, which was Ironsi, was the at that time chief of staff of the Nigerian army, was now invited by this president of the Senate, Reason, to come and take over the government, because the government was in disarray. Some ministers had been killed, the prime minister had been killed, and there was no coordination, because the coup didn't succeed as it was expected. There was nobody that came out to take Zog, who made his brokers from Kaduna. There was nobody in Lagos. Ironsi came over and took over as the head of state.
Most of what you just heard right now is hogwash. Arrant nonsense. The only painful thing is that it was an elderly person saying it, but regardless of the person's age, it was rubbish. Absolute nonsense. If you're from the southeast, you need prayers. My heart breaks for you guys. These are your leaders. These are your leaders. And as I was talking, I was making notes. Now that it's done, I'm now wondering, where do I even begin? Where do I even begin?
The first thing that I want Nigerians to understand is this. When you hear young people constituting...
Let me say it this way. The first thing that I want Nigerians to understand is this. When you hear young people constituting nuisance all over social media and in real life talking rubbish, they learned it from the elders. These are the elders. This is not the only one. We've listened to some. This one just happens to be quite interesting.
Maybe not today.
This is what I think we should do. Maybe not today. We'll take it bit by bit. You say something, I'll respond. You say something, I'll respond. That's the only way we can do this. But let me just address some things. He said Azikiwe was a wizard. And that's how he ran away from Nigeria. Really.
Do you know when Azikiwe
was a wizard?
Guys, Azikiwe left Nigeria.
Do you know when Azikiwe left Nigeria? Guys, Azikiwe left Nigeria in October of 65. Please ask me when he returned.
And I'm not disrespecting him.
Now, I have a new name for Azikiwe, and I'm not disrespecting him. I'm just doing exactly what this man said. Going forward, I'll be calling him Zig the Wiz. I love it. Be like animation, you know, like character for action film. I'm the actor for this action film.
He left in October of 65. He did not return to
Zig the Wiz is a wizard. He left in October of 65. He did not return to Nigeria until February of 66 because he was a wizard. This is an elder. The man started with... Let me see if I think I wrote it down. When I say my show, I'm just wondering, young people listen to these people. Young people listen to these elders. Our problem in Nigeria are people who believe lies to the point where they pass it on to the next generation like heirloom. They have nothing else to give their children but lies. And let me say something. For propaganda to work, you will need a modicum, like a measure of truth, or else it will be too apparent. There's a measure of truth, and the only measure of truth in the entire rubbish he said. Again, I make no apologies for this, and it's painful. It's painful because I hope you can see my heart. It's painful because young people believe this rubbish. People think they are hated because they hear old men like this, and they assume that if you are old, You know how it is now. If you are old, we expect wisdom. So naturally, we defer to you.
But because young people
I'm not
listen to
angry
these
because he's lying. Of course, he's talking
Number
rubbish.
one, he said
But because young people
majors,
listen to these things.
Igbo, Hausa, Yoruba, and all
Number
other
one, he
ethnic
said
groups were involved
young
in the coup.
majors,
It's a lie.
Igbo, Hausa, Yoruba, and all other ethnic groups were involved in the coup. It's a lie.
It's a lie. He said Igbos, Yorubas.
It's a lie.
Hausas. I wish.
He said Igbos, Yorubas, Hausas. I wish I'm going to have another session. We'll take it one by one. We'll listen to it and I'll be responding because I cannot.
He said young majors, Yorubas, Igbos, and Hausas were part
Dear,
of
dear.
the ones that planned the coup.
He said young majors, Yorubas, Igbos, and Hausas were the ones that planned the coup. He said all other ethnic groups planned the coup. The man is a liar. I don't care who he is, he's lying.
Then he said, go and read the book by Adewale Ademoye.
And I will explain.
Something, I don't know if you guys remember.
Then he said, go and read the book by Adewale Ademoye. I've said something, I don't know if you guys remember. Every time you speak to an Igbo man, if he discovers that you're Yoruba and he wants to tell you about the coup, he will tell you to go and read a book called Why We Struck. I was told this thing a few days ago. I told the person, I think I read this book more times than he thought, and so he's not the one that will be telling me what was inside. This book, they will tell you to go and read the book. They're not telling you to read the book because of the title. They're telling you to read the book because of the author. Where's his name? Here.
They mentioned that name.
Adewale Ademoye. The name is Yoruba. They mention that name not because they have read the book. They mention the book because they know the name is Yoruba. And they think that if Yoruba write something, that means that you cannot ask me any questions.
He didn't mention any Hausa.
Adewale Ademoye listed the names of those who planned the coup. He didn't mention any Hausa.
Igbos, and he was the only Yoruba.
There were no other ethnic groups. There were Igbos, and it was the only Yoruba, and he wrote it there.
The coup was planned.
And even the way the coup was planned, he was wrong.
Somebody asked me about an author here the other day.
And I've said it before.
Any author.
Somebody asked me about an author here the other day. Any author
is a liar.
Who tells you don't believe the special branch report of April 1966 is a liar. And there are many. Babatunde was their neighbor. Two Yoruba and other Igbos and their type, but there were no two Yoruba people. There was only one. Please, I beg in the name of God. The fact I just listened to this video and I waited and I just calmed down. It's a lot of work for me. Don't start in the comment section. I beg you. If you don't know, just leave it alone. Okay, you know what? Let's play a game. Give us the names of the two Yoruba people that were there. Babatunde. Give us the names of the two Yoruba people that were there. Your name is Babatunde. He said there were Yorubas, Hausas, and Igbos. He would say, how would he say Banjo? Banjo was literally working with, what's the name of the one that destroyed everything? Ironsi.
Trying to fix things, by the way.
Banjo was with Ironsi, was in Lagos, trying to fix things. By the way, we'll come to Banjo later. It was only one man. And he talked about how they planned the coup. And he talked about the fact that they've been friends for years and they eventually came together and they planned it. And he mentioned three names again and again: himself, Ifajuna, and Zogu. Because those were the people that he was, and then he mentioned Okafo when they were planning the coup.
But here's the crazy part, and I've said it
and
before.
Chukwuka.
If you read the special branch report of April 66, it was...
But here's the crazy part, and I've said it before. If you read the special branch report of April 66, it was, by the way, I've said several times, that document is one of the most important documents if you want to understand the coup. It was published by the Nigerian police after interrogating 200 people that were involved in that coup, both the planners and those who helped them with the execution and so on and so forth, and even some of the civilians that were part of it. They interrogated all of them and produced a document. It's in that document that we discover that even what this man says about the fact that he was one of the king that they really planned it, he didn't even understand or know that he came in at the time they invited him. He was the last person to be invited. And they gave him a job. And I thought about that thing today. I was working, I thought about it. And I was like, wait, these guys were smart. Do you know the job they gave Adewale Ademoye? Broadcast.
What do you think would have happened?
He was supposed to broadcast what was happening.
Was it today or yesterday?
What do you think would have happened? I thought about it. Was it today or yesterday? I was like,
Zogu broadcast the
these
stuff
guys were
in the
smart.
north, Radio Kaduna, and
Zogu broadcast the stuff in the north, Radio Kaduna, and since 1966 up until today, everybody says it was an Zogu coup, even though it was not Zogu.
Zogu wasn't the one that planned it, but it was the media.
Zogu was not the one that planned it, but it was the media. It was the face of the coup because it was one that went on the radio, on media, to say things, right? And everybody calls it Zogu coup. Imagine if it was Adewale Ademoyega speaking in Lagos, in NBC Lagos, just like that one spoke in Kaduna. What do you think would have happened? A Yoruba man planned the coup. When you say Zogu coup, you'll be saying Ademoyega coup today. These guys were good.
That was his job. They were not.
That was his job. They were not. He's not even what he said he was planning. What really happened was this. It was, God bless you, Oguntoye. He was supposed to be the fall guy. You know what? He said we should read Adewale Ademoyega. Let's read a bit of Adewale Ademoyega. But the first thing is that it was 7 people planned the coup. Of those 7, 6 were majors. Of those 7, 6 were Igbos and 1 Yoruba. Where he got his own Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba, and he's trying to do Wazobia of nonsense. The coup of July 29, have you ever said is Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba, and all other ethnic groups in Nigeria? You know, people just do these things because they're trying to, they hate the idea of responsibility. Let's read Adewale Ademoyega very quickly. I won't answer everything because I still want to read back onto self before we go today. Where should we even start? Let's start with what he said about what Okafor did. I'll just take it bits here and there. 1 second. By the way, for Yoruba, especially, read this book. It's not everything there that is correct, but read it. Why does it's not everything that's correct? Because he will only write what he knows. There are things he did not know, and it's natural, it's normal. And the ones he did not know, you get those things in another book and so on and so forth. Shebilowa. Let me read something so you probably find this interesting. By the way, there was a particular guy that was part of this whole thing. His name was Chudesoke. Oh, could you acknowledge India? The issue right now is where to begin, but I'm going to start somewhere.
At about 2300 hours,
okay, let's start here. At about 2300 hours, a group of officers were assembled at the military quarter of Major Ifajuna Tapapa. This included Babatunde. Please, if you don't have the name of the person you are mentioning, please stop typing in the comment section. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. Let's stay with that blessing. Stop disturbing comment. I have an uncle that was a soldier. I don't care. The one that's talking right now, who knows whether he was also carrying gun all over the place, lying to all of us. I beg. If you don't, he said Adeleke. He said Adeleke. Ha. Oh my show.
I will address it.
He said Adeleke. Okay, I will address it.
Anyway, I will answer you.
But why not ask the question? Why are you saying like you know what you're saying? Anyway, I will answer you. I will answer you. Let's finish this one first. Oh my show.
Your uncle said what your uncle thought.
Let's be careful with my uncle said, my father said. Your uncle said what your uncle thought. Anyway, I mean, with all due respect to our elders, but some of them like this, I mean, I know your uncle was probably just telling you what he thought. This one is telling us lies, but I'm sure your uncle is not like him. Let's read a few more things, then we'll go to that Adeleke pit. At about 2300 hours, that's 11 p.m., a group of officers were assembled at the military quarter of Major Ifajuna Tapapa. Babatunde, please stop. I've given you enough grace. Reading it in 1999 does not mean it. No man shower you by. You have spoken, Abi. Then calm down.
At about 23, I mean, I respect you have read the book. Just hold on.
At about 23, I mean, I respect you have read the book. Just hold on. There's no one book that contains the history of everything in Nigeria. There's no one book that has everything that's inside that happened in the coup.
You can find a book that refers to many.
There's no one book. The best you can do is, if you can find a book that refers to many books, and the truth is, I haven't seen any in the market, and they've told me to write one, so I'm working on something. But there's no one book, so I'll read from the other ones. They will put everything together. So let's work together. Let's not antagonize each other. Yeah, thank you, and let's go. At about 2300 hours, that's 11 p.m., a group of officers were assembled at the military quarter of Major Ifajuna at Apapa. This included the officers who took part in the planning of the coup, namely Ifajuna, Anuforo, Okafor, Chukwuka, and myself. I'll read it slowly. This included the officers who took part in the planning of the coup, namely Ifajuna, Anuforo, Okafor, Chukwuka, and myself. There are two names he did not mention. One was in the north. The other one was right there in the room. I'm going to tell you when we get there.
I don't know if you heard Adeleke.
So the man is mentioning the names of people there. I don't know if you heard Adeleke.
Just laughing because the way we are very serious with
it says here at about 23. I'm just laughing because the way we are very serious with what we do. Anyway, at about 2300 hours, a group of officers were assembled at the military quarter of Major Ifajuna at Apapa. These included the officers who took part in the planning of the coup, namely Ifajuna, Anuforo, Okafor, Chukwuka, and myself. With us were a number of young officers, captains and subalterns, who had only just been summoned. They had only just been summoned from the officers' mess for the operations. Not more than two of them had previous knowledge of the operation. One of these was a staff officer working with Ifajuna, and the other was a subaltern working with Major Okafor. Who are these people?
Let's use the opportunity to answer about today's questions. Number one,
let's use the opportunity to answer about today's questions. Number one, you saw the names you wrote here: Ifajuna, Anuforo, Okafor, Chukwuka, and Adewale Ademoyiga. Those were the five majors in Lagos. The other major is the one who coordinated the coup in the north. That's on Zogu. The interesting thing is this. He mentioned that around 11 p.m. they gathered many officers, and many of them did not know what they were even getting involved. He said not more than two. The man was specific. Not more than two of them had previous knowledge. And he says of these two, one was a staff officer working with the Ifajuna, the other was a subaltern working with Major Okafor. Who was the one working with Major Okafor? We have his name, by the way. We have to travel a bit.
I said this last week.
First, let's visit our Telegram channel. I said this last week. I think it's important that we read this document. You already seen I did not hear Yoruba anymore. Why people must be saying, tell us now, and I'll be hearing Oyibo. 1 second. Let's read to you who those people were. By the way, if you read this book, you will walk away with the notion that this man was part of the planning of the coup from the very beginning. That's what he thought. And he wrote it in his book, and we have read the book. This book was published in 1985. He wrote it about himself. But there's another document that was published in 1966 that has a bird's eye view, seeing everything that even he did not see. That document is called the Special Branch Report. And it was produced after the interrogation of 200 people that were part of the coup. I'll read something to you from there, and I'm going to read something to you from Benguile's book, Nigeria's Five Majors. Let's go. We're coming back to Ademoyiga. This is what that document says.
In August 1965, 3 officers. Listen,
In August 1965, 3 officers, listen, Major Okafor, Major Ifajuna, and Captain Oji. That's the only name we didn't find there.
actually, is the one.
Could he be the person that was with Okafor? Could he?
This one first.
Actually, it's the one. But how do I know? I'll tell you later. Let's just read this one first. In August 1965, 3 officers, Major Okafor, Major Ifajuna, and Captain Oji, who were already dissatisfied with political developments in the Federation and the impact of these developments on the army, held series of discussions between them about the matter and set about the task of searching for other officers who held views similar to their own and who could eventually be trusted to join them in the enterprise of staging a military coup d'etat. In September 1965, Major I.H. Chukwuka, that's Humphrey Chukwuka, of Nigerian Army Headquarters, Lagos, was persuaded to join the group of conspirators. Followed in October 1965, excuse me.
In October 1965 by Major C.I. Anuforo.
Followed in October 1965 by Major C.I. Anuforo, that's Chris Anuforo, also of the Army Headquarters. Major C.K. Nzogu was brought in around that time. Around which time? October. Was brought in around that time through the efforts of Major Anuforo, an old friend of both Majors Nzogu and Okafor. Major Nzogu in turn secured the support for the plan of Major Adewale Ademoega, who had worked with him in the Nigerian Army Training College, Kaduna. The last person to join the group of the coup plotters was Ademoega. He was the last. Himself and the penultimate person, that's Nzogu, were revolutionaries. We're going to change the country. We're going to change Nigeria. Oh dear.